Okay, in social studies today, we're going to talk about the 3 branches of government, and we're going to use the Frame graphic device to take notes on all of it. So we will talk about the key topic, what it is about, the main ideas, essential details that are important for the future, and what it is, and what's important to understand about it. So for the key topic, we're going to write the 3 branches of government. So we can write that down. Okay, and then under the next box is what it is about. So we're going to write having a separation of power. So the 3 branches of government talks about 3 different types: legislative, executive, and judicial. So make sure in this box you're writing down the separation of power. Okay, so for legislative, does anybody know what legislative, like the legislative branch does? Go ahead.
It makes the laws.
Yes, so that's what we'll write that in essential details. That's something that is important to know. And then we're also you're gonna put a star in that little box next to it. Okay, and then for the next branch, does anybody know another branch? There's 2 left, so we just talked about legislative.
Executive?
Yes. So we're gonna write executive for this main idea. And then in the last one is gonna be judicial, so you write that there as well. And then, okay, so for executive, does anybody know what that branch does for our government? So that one carries out laws and enforces laws. So we're gonna write that one also right underneath here. And then for the last one, you're going to write evaluate and explains the laws for the first essential detail box. Okay, so we're gonna go back to legislative. So for the first box, we have makes the laws. So underneath here, we wanna have 3 other things that we're gonna fill in. So there's different types of people who work underneath the legislative law. And one of them is Congress, the Senate, and then the House of Representatives. So the Congress will represent the American people, and they make our laws, or they create them. And then the Senate will vote on our laws, as well as the House of Representatives will make and then pass federal laws. So underneath these essential details, what do you guys think would be like key words to put under here?
The Senate votes.
Yeah, you can write Senate votes. Okay, so then there was 2 other jobs that are underneath the legislative branch. And those are gonna be important to remember. So do you guys remember what I had said those were?
Congress and House of Reps.
Yes, so then we can write each of those down as those are essential details. So those will be in our last two boxes. And it doesn't matter the order. Okay, so under executive, when you think of the word executive, you think of like top person in like a company or someone that's super important. So who do you think would work under the executive branch when you think of the word executive?
The president.
Yes. So that would be an essential detail. So we'll write down the president. And then there's another person that works, well, there's two other ones that work super close with the president.
Vice president?
Yeah, we'll write down the vice president. So the vice president is somebody that will take place for the president in case of death or their inability to do the job. And then another one that we're going to write down underneath the executive branch would be the cabinet. So the cabinet advises the president on duties or topics, and he helps him or her when necessary. Okay, so for judicial, we have right now that this branch evaluates and explains laws. So for this one, there's two like specific jobs that are underneath this branch. So within this one, the Supreme Court, they promise to the American people to have equal justice underneath the law. And then for other federal courts, that decides if the laws that are voted on are against the Constitution. So what are two keywords that we could write that would be important, that would help us remember those two jobs I just said?
Justice.
Okay.
Supreme Court.
Okay. Okay, and then the last one I had talked about, it helps, they decide if the laws are constitutional that are voted on. So we could write down just federal courts. Okay, so then we have two more things to do for this framing graphic device. So we're going to talk about what is important to understand. So my idea that I had was that each branch has an important job in making our government run successfully. So we can either use that or you guys can come up with your own. Do we want to use my idea? Okay, so just write that in the so what's, that we know that this is why we're learning all of this. Okay, and then the last thing that we're going to do is we're going to put a star next to what each branch does. So underneath the essential details column for each main idea, you're going to want to put a star next to it. And then to help you for the future, I want you to put numbers 1 through 3 for this one, for this column next to them. So if you think that the Senate is the most important to remember, then you can put a 1 next to it in that little bubble. And then I want you to do the same thing for this column and then this one, but this one just goes 1 through 2. And then when you're done, you can put your pencil down so that I know you're ready to move.